Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. Welcome to the market update. Which market update? The only one you can trust. This show is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com, the place where you can go to find downside targets you can't find anywhere else. I'm Bill Noble. I'm your host. If you need a roadmap in crypto and you've been listening to the wrong people, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, please drop a like. We did cross 1,200. 1,200 likes is the record. Can we get to 1,500? Can we get to 1,500 likes? Can I keep you out of the way of both the decline and a possible short squeeze? Like sometimes in bear markets, you get a 2 or 3 day squeeze, right? How to manage the short term and what's up for the long term. Don't go anywhere. All right, let's welcome and see who's here, right? We have Ali from London first on the stream. Soli Soul, right? Kentucky is here, right? Paco, LFG. We have Ontario, right? Chris, right? Dishu Fun and Games, good liquidation. Andre with the notorious love. Appreciate that. All right. We have South Carolina is here. Paco says, when will all events be considered priced in? Okay. In early November. Right. We have CB. Right. Tennessee is here. Peru. We need a rally. All right. We'll talk about that. Okay, Chicago, Wisconsin, right? We have Africa, Montreal, Germany, okay? And of course, our guys from England and Manny, I appreciate that. Okay, so let's get into what we've been doing on the stream is a little bit of news, okay? Because news flow is really important. Okay, news flow and the continued ongoing negative news flow is required to keep an advanced market, an advanced bear market moving down. So what am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you that now everybody knows it's going down, right? Everyone's wearing a red hat now, okay? So when you have that situation, you're going to need continued negative news flow. So we know there's something out there, and we suspect we know what they are. But the question is, have they happened yet? And is everybody shorting the market, waiting for it to happen? Okay, so it could happen. But in the next like 1 or 2 days, what happens if it doesn't? Okay, so let's go through the news. Why Celsius and 3 Arrows Capital should cause you to worry or going under, right? And I thought this was a really good part of the thread, okay, where it says, first of all, 3 Arrows Capital, that's a hedge fund, collapse is monumental. This is because they borrow from every single major lender. Okay, so think BlockFi, Genesis, Nexo, Celsius. Expect every lender to take a hit from 3 Arrows Capital. In other words, you have mass bank failures like you had in 1929 or you almost had in 2008. Except they had the Fed bail everybody out by giving them $10 billion in capital. Every bank had to take $10 billion, like it or not, and then Bernanke started to print. No such luck in crypto. Okay. The last public number for 3 Arrows Capital was tagged at 18 billion. Okay. There was rumors of them pledging a stake that they had, even though they had already disposed of it economically. So again, with Three Arrows Capital, right, men behaving badly along with general insolvency. Now, when is this going to hit the tape? I don't know. It definitely hit the tape overnight. I think Three Arrows is insolvent, in my opinion, not investment advice, based on some of this type of talk that's out there. Okay. Just in, a bill that would ban crypto as a payment method in Russia has passed the first reading in Parliament. Why is this relevant? Well, because just take whatever the communists are doing and do the opposite. So if payment methods are being banned in Russia, that means when this is over, payment methods, Zcash, Litecoin, all this kind of stuff, right, is going to matter. Doesn't matter now, but it's going to matter later. And you should start tracking it. Because again, whatever the thugs over there want to do, the thugs is in the government, whatever they want to do over there, just do the opposite. Right? Right. Why the ST-ETH and ETH peg breaking should cause you to worry. Okay. ST-ETH is a form of Lido-staked Ethereum. Upon the merge, okay, if nothing goes wrong, it should be redeemable for ETH with some staking yield included. Okay. Right. And then there are already threads out there talking about the mechanics of ST-ETH and ETH. Okay. And he wants to expound on this further. So from yesterday, what did we learn? Well, you could stake your Ethereum and get ST-ETH, which I call monopoly money ETH. And you could take that ST-ETH and deposit it into Aave and borrow actual ETH against your monopoly ETH. Which, of course, people then turned around and spent on NFTs, which are all going to zero. So I have no idea how the repayment mechanisms inside the DeFi protocols are going to work. If ST-ETH depegs or everybody sells ST-ETH enough, maybe it doesn't cause a complete depeg, but it creates a giant margin call because everybody borrowed not only against their ETH, but they borrowed against ST-ETH, right? And then, of course, it's classic. We have to have everything is all right. Here's BitMEX telling you, don't forget to buy Bitcoin, okay, at 20K. And then we have a reminder from a blog that says, trying to be tactical and time markets is widely regarded as a fool's errand. Wait a minute. Is it telling you to buy Bitcoin at 20K trying to time a bottom? What happens if the bottom is 2K? But don't worry. They don't care because they've already got their money and I'm sure they're out. Plus, everything is okay. How long have we heard this? How long have I been telling you, which is why I want you to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, that it's right out of the 1929 book. Everybody, the President of the United States, all the major heads of industry, all the way down, told you everything is all right. And everything is not all right. Coinbase, okay? If you are laid off and you receive a notification in your personal email, we made the decision to cut access to Coinbase systems for affected employees. Okay. Given the number of employees who have access to sensitive customer information, it would be unfortunate and the only practical choice to ensure that not one single person makes a rash decision that hurt the business. Okay. So this is kind of typical at Wall Street, but I saw a Coinbase video yesterday going, you know, all the times that they've said crypto is dead. 2018, 2013, 2012, everyone said crypto is dead. And Coinbase is likening what's going on to the bottoms back then when they said crypto is dead. Crypto isn't dead, according to the Coinbase marketing video, which I unfortunately cannot find. So interesting that Coinbase is putting out a message that crypto is not dead and they're cutting off people's access, giving them generous severances and telling them to have a nice day. So if crypto isn't dead, what's with this mercenary fire people? Again, the severance is nice, but the people who are telling you everything is all right are prepping for it to get worse. Okay. MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor said he would consider buying more Bitcoin. Currently, he has 1 billion in paper losses. Okay. So Mike might need to consider buying more Bitcoin for his personal account at whatever island this poor man has to hide on if this whole thing with MicroStrategy goes bad, which it's going to. It's just a question of when. And this poor guy doesn't have anything to say on the tape because he's been on the tape for like months talking about Bitcoin as a new paradigm. So really, when you have to think about Michael Saylor, it's really not that he bought Bitcoin and he might lose money, because that everyone's done that. You can't knock a guy for having a market view and he's wrong, right? You can't put Michael Saylor in the same bucket as, say, the guy that was running Luna, where he was walking around with a known vulnerability. This guy just had a market view and may not wind up being correct. So I'm not knocking this guy for that, right? But I am knocking this guy for sitting around and telling everybody that everything is okay when it's not. It's not okay, dude. It's not okay. All right? So let's go from there over to your market update, right? And somebody says, Bill, other crypto companies are hiring. Yes. CZ at Consensus said that because they didn't go buy stadium rights and sponsor Formula One teams, right, that Binance may be actually trying to pick up all these high-powered people because they're coming out at 1/5 of the price of what they were at the top of the FOMO. So, CZ and may have liquidity problems at some point, but he's got the right HR strategy. I don't know if he's got the rest of it right. Okay, so let's jump into your market update. Now, we're going to approach this from a couple different angles, right? We're going to call this specific section Managing Your Emotions, because now everyone's wearing a red cap, okay? Everyone's wearing a red cap. So now things every day, they get more difficult. It gets more difficult every day. So let's go through a recap. Okay, El Salvador has not had any losses due to the Bitcoin price dive. That's interesting. I thought they held a bunch of Bitcoin. Maybe they hedged it. Maybe El Salvador was like, oh my God, we need to protect ourselves. So who knows, right? But again, another everything is all right announcement. OpenSea announces new security features to protect from scams. Thanks a lot. Now that the whole world's been scammed 5 times over, right? Nothing issue. MicroStrategy plans to hodl Bitcoin through adversity. Again, everything is all right. The more you hear everything is all right, the more you should assume everything is not all right. And someone was asking, when is everything priced in? When people stop telling you everything is all right. When they stop lying to you, it's priced in. Okay. And when they stop lying to you, the downside price target is shocking, shockingly low. EU Commissioner reiterates need for regulating all crypto assets. EU Commissioner reiterates need for regulating all crypto assets. So that means all it takes is for some guy to get on the tape and say, we're done with stablecoins. Like, stablecoins are over. No more phony baloney digital dollars. The Fed and the Treasury are in charge of the dollar, just like the ECB is in charge of the euro. So I'm glad you guys had your fun, but this is over. Done. Right? And that can trigger like panic. And these guys are telling you that. So there's everything. Everyone is paying attention to the people who are saying everything is all right. And the guys who are going to drop the hammer on it all, everyone's ignoring them because they've been telling you this the whole time. Right? Bill to ban digital assets as payment passed the first reading in the Russian parliament. Yeah, because they're scared of what the real future of crypto is, which is what Snowden said at Consensus, which is not crypto as an investment for a 10x, but crypto as a payment method. Now, when this thing gets killed, the new payment methods will undoubtedly rise dramatically in price. Okay, but the Russians are ahead of the game. They're ahead of the game. They're trying to ban it in their country because they don't want anybody to be free. So if the Russians don't want you to be free, be free. Here's a great one. A fool's game. Bill Gates criticizes the intangible value of NFTs. Hey, Bill, I'm questioning the intangible value of Windows Vista. Like, we need investing advice from this guy. So 1 minute, he's a pandemic expert, scaring everybody with his weirdness, which may or may not be right. And now he's telling you NFTs have no value. It's amazing what these guys will do to be relevant, right? Like, what good news about me not being a celebrity is I don't have to worry about waking up every morning and saying, what am I going to do to be relevant? Because I'm an analyst and, you know, the market is moving, so I'm relevant. But these guys, these celebrities are unbelievable. It's like, hey, Bill, we didn't need you to tell us that now. We needed you to tell us that when Bored Ape was trading for 116 ETH and ETH was at 3,200. And we have a Russian bank to complete its first digital currency deal. So the Russian government's trying to get rid of it. But the reality is, you know, people want it. People want crypto. The other thing that Snowden said that was really kind of a bummer is he said he lives in Russia and life over here is not really any different. Like, all these sanctions that were supposed to cripple Russia, he's like, I don't even notice. Meanwhile, over here, you know, people have to, like, stop driving. So congratulations to Uncle Sam for botching the whole cancel culture on Russia. There had to be a response, but I'm not sure we didn't walk right into a trap. Because as Snowden said, nothing's changed over there. Now let's go to crypto. Tokenmetrics.com on the markets page has got probably one of our coolest TA inventions yet. The black line is total crypto market cap. The green line is total altcoin market cap. And the gold line is Bitcoin market cap. Now, as you can see, the two lines are getting close. Altcoin market cap is 538 billion. Bitcoin market cap is 406 billion. So when is it over? When is it all priced in? That's the question. Well, it's all priced in when you have exactly the opposite of what you had over here in May of last year, when you had altcoin market cap massively above Bitcoin. So when you have altcoin market cap massively below Bitcoin, then it's over, right? But we're not there yet. And considering I think Bitcoin can go massively lower, can you imagine where that puts altcoins? You know, it puts ETH at 350 and everything else at zero or like $1. I mean, again, markets love symmetry, right? So if they did it on the upside, if the green was bigger than the gold on the upside, the green can go lower than the gold on the downside. Now, is that the focus for the next 2 days? I don't think so. But if there is a rally, right, I don't think you should fade the first rally. But if there's like a 1 to 2 day move where they really squeeze people because news flow slows down, or I don't know, maybe the Fed says something. You'll notice today we just, you know, we're on the air. Maybe Powell will start talking while I'm still on the air. Who cares? I don't care what they do, right? I know that everybody wants to be short now, and there's a lot of support in ETH at 1,000. We'll go through that later. Okay, so this is the dollar. This is dollar yen. You know, we've talked about the dollar going much higher. What hasn't occurred to me is that, you know, the last rounds of new high in dollar yen have not been confirmed by stochastics. And I'm wondering if there's going to be a sell the fact event in the dollar, which could help gold, right? Could also create a short squeeze in crypto. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at tactical things that could create a squeeze, right? So you can watch out for that. Because first I got you out of the down move. Now that people are panicking and getting upset, I want to protect you from selling the bottom so ETH doesn't rip from, 950 to 1280. Okay, I don't want you to get caught in that. Matter of fact, if it goes from 950 to 1280, I want you to have the powder to be able to sell it at 1280 for the monster move that's coming. Okay, gold, 1828 is the key level. That's the 62% retracement of the recent up move. Can gold recover? Will the dollar go higher? I don't know. We'll know after the Fed. But, after we get done digesting the Fed, I am definitely not opposed to long gold, short Bitcoin. Like there could be a squeeze in ETH and alts, right? But I think any rally in Bitcoin is just going to get sold. Period. Because really, Bitcoin should be at 17K right now. We'll go into that later. All right, so let's go through kind of a Bitcoin roadmap. There are a lot of reasons to think 20 is support. So I guess we have to kind of respect that. 14K is one support level in Bitcoin. 10 is another downside target. Where does 10 come from? Well, in 2020, Bitcoin went up 20K in 3 weeks, right? And in 2022, I don't see why it can't go down 20K in 3 weeks. There might be a small squeeze, but the bigger picture is that sometime between the U.S. Father's Day holiday on like the 20th and like say out to July 14th or July 24th, that's when you're just going to have an event risk in crypto. Okay, here's the Celsius Vault as of yesterday. Their liquidation price as of yesterday was 15K. They can try to move this down. The market's going to shoot for it, whatever they do. And so many people have to sell. I mean, hedge funds out of business, STETH depeg, stable coins in trouble, regulators coming, Saylor, and no one's even talked about Musk. Like, where's Musk's Bitcoin? Right? No one's talked about it. Liquidity risk. This is another problem in the market, right? So you could get, theoretically, you could get a squeeze in the next 2 or 3 days. Now, that overnight bounce where ETH went from down 15% to down 6%, maybe that was the bounce. Again, there is a limit to the crystal ball, but there could be a liquidity spike. You could have a lack of liquidity if there was a squeeze up to 1280 in ETH. And you could have a lack of liquidity if ETH just turned around and went to 850 because, the market's like, F the bounce, we're going to start to decline now, which is possible, right? You just have to kind of see after the Fed what happens, right? If they try to break ETH at 1,000, right, and it doesn't work, then we'll go over why there could be a squeeze. So near, if there's a final puke in alts, it may be to near at 275. It's kind of the only thing that really hasn't like fully puked out yet, it feels like, right? Avalanche has fully puked out to 1435. I guess if it's a disaster, it goes to 9.5. I'm not saying it can't go lower. I'm just wondering if it can go lower right now. And if it's worth it to be shorted on top of support if they do these like wild spike wicks on the way up. We've seen them in like Tron and some of the smaller coins. You got to watch these stop flush wicks on the way up, like the next 2 or 3 days. Okay, now I think if there's a case that really explains what can happen in crypto. So in Fantom, which was like, the hot DeFi thing, 22 cents is support. So I don't see any point in shorting Fantom at 22 cents because they've killed it. Now, if Fantom does not hold 22 cents, so if the rally either doesn't materialize or the rally is a dead cat bounce or whatever, bottom line is if Fantom breaks below 22 cents, there's no support until 2 cents. So people are like, oh, Bill, some of the downside targets you put on your Twitter, you're out of your mind. It could never happen. Right. So everything is all right. Nothing to see here. Ignore the noise from regulators. And then it's followed by, it could never happen. Like that could never happen. Right? It could never get that bad. The definition of capitulation is the level where you are no longer interested in buying, or you are no longer able to buy because you can't get money in or out of exchanges, or you're afraid the exchanges are insolvent. The definition of capitulation is where there are zero buyers. Zero. And then the first buyer that comes in starts to rally the other way. This is an example of what can happen. Maybe not today, but it can happen throughout June and July, or September, October. Okay, ETH. So there's support at 1050. I have a really hard time getting super bearish right this second if ETH is above 1050. Now, if ETH is not above 1050 and it cracks, 719 is next. It's kind of as simple as that. By the way, these are generated by AI and machine learnings. We went through all of these charts just now on the Token Metrics Premium webinar. So wink, wink, if you want to survive the bear market, we can help you. We can also help you if it turns around because our analysts are working on the buy list for November. Okay, DeMark work. Haven't talked much about it because a lot of times DeMark work breaks in severe down moves or severe up moves. However, in this particular case, we've got a 13 and a 9 bottom brewing on the Bitcoin weekly charts. So last week was the 9 and this week was the 13. So even though it is my belief that this stuff is going massively lower, I cannot possibly be the only person that sees this. So if they can't break the market after the Fed, or if the Fed does something that makes the market, makes crypto or risk assets go up, you got to watch out for the squeeze because people see this and they're not going to be interested in being short 20K with this out there. So it's like a 2 to 3 day thing. I mean, eventually this is going to break, but I don't know if you just want to go cowboy faded right this second. So this is June 15th in the middle of the day. So if you let it kind of uptick and maybe there's a squeeze in ETH, like a multi-day squeeze or like a big wick up, that's your chance to sell. Not the first uptick, but you know, if it gets going, that'll be the chance to get out. Right? Now, the alternative is it just folds. Okay. Now, here's another reason why you have to be careful. And I brought up negative news flow. So you have to have a new negative development every day. So this is from Glassnode, the Bitcoin futures funding rate. So everything was green, meaning, you know, longs were paying to be long. And then no one listened. And then, oh, I have to hedge. Whoops. Bitcoin's not holding. And now everybody's hedged. Everyone's short and everybody is paying big premiums to be short. The last time you saw this was in March. It lasted 2 days and then Bitcoin actually bounced. Now, I don't think the Bitcoin bounce is going to be big, but when you have this kind of picture, could it go lower? Yeah, it could. I'll show you that later. But if it stops, right? If the news flow calms down, you know, you have to be cognizant of, if you're a short seller, be cognizant of the possibility of a bounce. ETH, very similar situation. You have a 13 and a 9 bottom on a weekly chart, okay? Now, nobody cares, but I think if ETH closed above 1120 for this week, or if they try to rally it back to, say, 1280, that's probably people reacting to this and going, hey, wait a minute. This is probably going to go lower, but what about my little short position? There's a joke in Legacy about hedging, right? Hedges are something little doggies pee on. That means normally people who are hedging sell the bottom. Or in a bear market, they sell, and after they get done, the market rips up. Now, I don't know if it's going to rip up. The larger point is the opportunity to get short or the opportunity to get out of longs may be at slightly higher prices. Even if they wreck it down to 850 today or 790, maybe they're going to wick it all the way down. They may bring it all the way back. Shorts get greedy too. You don't want to be a trapped short in the next 3 days. What you want to be is calm, cool, and collected so that if you get the rally, you can either get out of your longs or you can set hedges at that point. Okay, again, the ETH futures funding rate. Now, again, everybody long ETH because everybody was afraid of the merge. Okay, everybody was afraid. Everybody was probably short the market, but long ETH futures as a hedge. So that's now over. Everyone has to get short ETH. You know, back in December, you know, like when that ETH funding rate goes negative, you know, it stays negative. So, all right. So ETH could get wrecked, and we've said that. If it's below 1050, it can go to 700. But if it stops at 1050, you know, this is pretty extreme. So if there's an absence of bad news for like 2 days, you know, you have to be careful that all the people who just wanted to be long and wouldn't give it up now are like, oh, yeah, okay, ETH is at 3,000, I loved it, but at 1,000, I'm bearish. You got to watch out for that. Because if you get the squeeze, you can unload on that. And if that doesn't work, if it breaks down, okay, then you go with it. Okay. I just think the calamity is going to start after Father's Day, which is this weekend, because the market loves to do it on holidays, like eat dinner, maybe open a present, you're trying to watch television, you look at your phone, and the market is doing something crazy. Okay. All right, let's look at ETH tactically now. So I guess ETH could make a new low, right? They tried to bounce it today. And, you know, you've been paid to pretty much fade every bounce, right? I just want to let you know that if they do rip ETH higher, it could go to 1233 or 1280. That's an if, okay? One of the things that's really hard about down markets and crashes is how to manage these rips. And there can be a rip. Now, again, if it just gives out, if 3 Hours Capital is insolvent, it's done. But I want to give you the level in case, you know, I can't be on air all day. I don't know what the Fed's going to do. If you get this kind of level on shorts getting stopped out, this is where you want to unload stuff. Okay, just a reminder, the Bitcoin correlation matrix from tokenmetrics.com. So Polkadot, right, is there, even though I think Polkadot will be a long-term buy in October, right? Binance Coin, Ethereum. Notice, as I noted yesterday, Pax Gold is a negative correlation to Bitcoin. So gold normally does good when there's inflation. Just the problem is the dollar has been going up, interest rates have been going up, and that hurts gold. So if interest rates stop going up and the dollar takes a break, gold might go up. You know, long gold, short Bitcoin, I do all day, every day for the rest of the year until November. Sorry. Okay. Now, my little homemade spreadsheet that nobody likes. Okay. ARK, the altcoins of the stock market, hot stocks that had no earnings and no hope of earnings in the short term, but they had great concepts. July of last year, they were trading at this ETF was trading at 113. So ARK is a collection of the altcoins of the stock market. Now the price is at $38.18, down 66% from where it was in July of last year. In July of last year, ETH was at 1706. And wouldn't you know, if ETH matches ARK, because ETH is Web3, right? The altcoin of the altcoins in the crypto market. If ETH went down 66% from where it was last year in July, it would be at Drum roll, 1025. Now, I originally put this up, and then people were like, Bill, you're out of your mind with 1025, and that's okay. But the thing is, it's now at 1025. If you go back to the Glassnode data, everyone wants to be short. When the fact is, ETH is now more or less in balance. Now, where things are not in balance is in Bitcoin, right? So there's MicroStrategy, was at 472 last year in July. Now it's at 167. Bitcoin was at 29K. So Bitcoin should be below 18K, 17,750. So if there's a failed rally in the next 3 days, even though there's this STE thing, Bitcoin could just completely tank and take the whole market with it after Father's Day. Like, nobody's going into July. Nobody's going into the July 4th holiday long crypto. People are like, I can't deal with this. I'm done. Plus, there's all these like forced liquidations out there. So, ETH is fairly priced. That's why you might get a bounce. But if you get the bounce, not investment advice, you got to unload on Bitcoin. I mean, 17,750. What happens when MicroStrategy goes down another 20%? You're going to start getting close to Celsius liquidation point, which will trigger Saylor's liquidation point. And Bitcoin just gets repriced. It doesn't have a privacy future. And it's not what everyone thinks it is. The value is a perception. The perception about Bitcoin could change. That's all. Not to hate on it, not to hate on the maximalists. Bitcoin doesn't have a privacy feature. Okay, so the Fed just did 75 basis points. Okay, so MicroStrategy on a monthly basis, right? Support is at $9.55. Because what happens is, as Bitcoin goes lower, Saylor may not be forced to sell because of leverage. But are you going to want to do business with MicroStrategy? Are there bonds that they hold and their debt going to get downgraded? Is anyone going to lend them money? How does this computer company function with Bitcoin at 15K? It doesn't. So Saylor may just hold on and let the stock go to $9 from 160. It was at 900. Or the fact that it hurts the functioning of the computer company forces them to sell Bitcoin to get everyone to calm down, so the computer company itself doesn't stop functioning. Tesla. Okay, we'll check where Tesla is in a minute, but last I heard, Musk had Bitcoin. They're doing some 3-for-1 stock split to try to pull retail in to get liquidity to get out of the stock, right? They either got to get out of the Bitcoin, or Musk has got to get out of Tesla, or big investors have to get out of Tesla. Like, there's no way Tesla goes unscathed starting July 4th, right? They can try to do whatever they're going to do in the short term, but to think that Musk has got a bunch of Bitcoin and was tweeting his butt off about Bitcoin back in the day, and I have diamond hands. Arrogant people in this market are getting wrecked. Luna, 3 Arrows Capital, anybody who's arrogant, anybody who thinks that they're smarter than everybody else, they are going to get taken out to the woodshed. Oil. Okay, so everyone's talking about interest rates, the Fed, this, that. You know what, folks? Oil is the issue. And the lack of liquidity in oil is the issue. So yes, Americans may stop driving and may drive less. So there's this temporary dip in oil. However, if Vladimir Putin mails the United States a present for July 4th, which they like to do, because keep in mind, there are all these unexplained fires in food processing plants in the United States. We are at war with these guys. Even if there's no shooting, we are at war with them. And if something happens over July 4th that causes oil to go above 125, it's headed for 150. And oh, by the way, from statistical analysis we did last year, oil up means Bitcoin down, as if there could be another problem for Bitcoin. Okay. Russia has a hunger plan. Vladimir Putin is preparing to starve the developing world as the next stage in his war in Europe. Okay. Right now, the Russians are running a naval blockade at the bottom here that now prevents the Ukraine from exporting grain. it prevents Ukraine from exporting grain. And the final line is, if the Russians' blockade continues, tens of millions of tons of food will rot. Now, this could be true. This may not be true. But when people get hungry and they can't get gas in their car, politicians get angry and war can ensue. Notice how no one is talking about this. No one is talking about this. And you're like, Bill, I can't handle any more bad news. Well, it's not bad news. It's just reality, right? Like, what creates the decline in July or late June through July? What creates that decline? Can you imagine if crypto is caught in a macro vortex where geopolitical uncertainty and oil start going up? Like, what's going to happen to stocks in that environment? Stocks are going to vaporize, and crypto's going to get caught in that. So if there's an everything is all right trade in crypto or a break in the news flow, that's your opportunity, right? Take advantage of your opportunity. This literally is potentially the last rally. We either already had it or it's coming. The last rally is here. Now, I don't know what it looks like. It could be really small. It could have occurred today, or it could occur over the next 2 days. I don't know. Whatever it is, if you got to adjust risk, you got 3 days. And that is the market update. All right. Okay, Jonah says, who wants to fight anymore? Everybody is on drugs. Right. Vladimir Putin is counting on the United States' lack of a will to fight. All right, let's go and check. Let's see what's going on in the markets. Jerome Powell is going to get on the tape and tell you what? That they're not happy with inflation and that the Fed's going to do everything they can to stop it. We know that already. Okay. So let's look at ETH. Let's go to like an 89-minute chart, see what's going on. Okay. So the Fed came out with the bad news. Okay, let's put the alligator back in. Okay, so the dollar went up, right? My quant guy is telling me that the dollar's going up, ETH's falling apart, so we're now back to where we were last night. Okay. All right. So the dollar did make a new high. Okay. Okay. Dollar yen has got resistance at 135. So I think everything really depends on what's going on with dollar yen. Let's see what gold did or what gold is doing. So interestingly, let's look at a daily chart. Let's go back and look at a daily because this matters for crypto, right? So gold is hanging in there, right? It can't get above that 62% retracement level, but I don't know. It's trying to stay green. So maybe gold goes up. Interesting that interest rates, right, stopped rising, right? This is the long bond. I expected it to go to 3.5. It's chilling out. So this is like your post-Fed news roundup. Okay. So let's see what stocks are doing. Okay. Oh, wait, look, stocks are up because stocks are always up. There's always a positive thing in stocks, right? They love it. They can't stop loving it. Okay. So stocks are green for the moment. Okay. And I want to go over to ETH here. So let's look at really short-term charts. We've been making a living on the 90-minute charts in ETH and Bitcoin. Okay. So what do we got? Okay. Well, we got maybe Bitcoin stopping at 20. Nothing terribly exciting there. Okay. You know, we have ETH. There's the 13 bottom. 988 is possible. Okay. That's a DeMark point to watch. Okay. Let's take it down even more granular. Let's go to 60-minute. Okay. Someone's asking for Cardano. We'll punch that in. So in ETH on the 1 hour chart, now you're probably wondering, why am I going to like shorter and shorter time frames, because that's kind of what you have to do in bear markets. Like once a crash gets going like this, right, it just like finding support, it becomes really hard. So maybe they overshoot 1,000, maybe. Okay, so on the 60-minute chart of Bitcoin, this hour right now after the Fed is the 13 bottom. So I don't think Bitcoin is going to like kill everybody on the upside, but you have to respect this, right? Because Bitcoin on the weekly has the 13 bottom, right? So, you know, does this make me want to go, oh yeah, let's short everything right now with ETH at 1,000? No. It actually makes me wonder about this, which is the fact that everyone is short. So if the market breaks, okay, but look at stonks, right? Stonks are just flying because that's just what stonks do, right? The Fed getting tough on inflation, jokes aside, probably is a good thing for stocks because it shows the Fed is on the job. So Powell probably did the right thing. Now, what does that mean for crypto? So if Powell did the right thing, right? All right, ETH is getting smoked still, right? But is ETH going to find support, or is ETH going to take out this fractal at 10, 12 and keep going? We'll see. Okay, if you've been short ETH towards 1,700, if it was me, I think the ballsy move is to take the money on shorts and pray that they rip it back up. I know that's crazy. And I could be getting too cute. So you don't want to get too cute. You don't want to turn your back on the bear. But if you're a short seller, right, and 1,000 holds in ETH, or they wick it below it and bring it back, you don't want to get caught. Now, bigger picture, somewhere between here and 1,280 is where you want to get out. If you haven't gotten out, that's the zone. If you get it, take it, right? And then, as you may know by the red cap, there's always risk that it falls apart. Powell isn't talking right now. I don't know. Powell speaks in 20 minutes, according to one reader. Okay. Okay, so Monero, Solana. So let's check out what's going on in Solana. So in Solana, we had a key level at 30. It wicked there. And if it continues to fail at 30, then like this is the more bearish case, you know, 24 is next. So I just told you, be careful of a wick. That could have been the wick, right? That could have been the lick. Okay, somebody's asking about Monero. It's totally getting destroyed because Zcash, I think, is just a better solution. Okay, downside target in Monero could be 68. Okay, you would be very careful if Monero went back above 138, but, you know, they could drop. The downside risk in Monero is 67. Okay? And you have to be cognizant of not only where the support point is, but what you're going to do when you can't find support. Those days are coming. Okay. So, you know, again, I had 1025 as a level in ETH. Someone's asking about XRP. Okay. And I got XRP and Cardano on one sheet, I believe. So we can go over both of those at the same time. So I think the way to look at this is on a weekly basis, right? So this is Cardano on a weekly chart. I'm sorry, this is Cardano on a daily chart. You could have 3 more days of downside. Okay, Cardano on a weekly chart, there's the 13 bottom, there's the 9 bottom. That has created spikes. However, Cardano's already had 2 failed rallies. So, you know, I know Cardano is a great project and people like it, but if you have a project and you like it, you have to make sure You have to make sure you're honest about navigation. So I'm a little worried about Cardano. You know, ETH's got a lot of support. Bitcoin could stop for a day. Okay. But if there's no real rally, I mean, the DeMark support point in Cardano is at 15 cents, right? Now, XRP, okay, this is a weekly chart, right? So in XRP, it looks like they're counting down. So if XRP is going to fail and rally, it's going to do so right now. Okay, so if XRP is going to bottom, you should see it now, literally, right? If XRP is what they say it is, right? So here's the 13 bottom, right? And this could have 3 more down days, theoretically, right? Which is kind of messed up because, you know, the next 3 days might be quiet or stable. Okay. Okay. By the way, USDN is not near. Yes. Thank you for correcting that. I am issuing a correction. USDN is not the near stable coin. That's USN. So that was an error. USDN is associated with waves. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay. Okay. So what am I thinking about Gala? So let me just make sure I'm keeping an eye on what ETH is doing. Okay. So right now, ETH is all over the place, but it's kind of a stalemate. Okay. So let's see if I got Gala here. I do. So on a 90-minute chart of Gala, you know, in all honesty, what's Gala doing here? Probably consolidating to go down, I would guess. Because if this goes down, if the market goes down, this goes with it. But, you know, look what happens in Gala when you get too bearish. Whoop, squeeze. Whoop, squeeze. You know, you always got to be careful, right, with these like squeezes. Now, if Gala is done hurting everybody because that move, the 0.062 was the failed rally. My thing about Metaverse is you got to be really careful, right, with these expensive gaming plays once this thing turns. When this thing turns lower, right, if you're long and the market decides that a certain sector you're in is overvalued. Okay, this is Solana. So we showed the rejection in Solana at 30, but we've got the 13 bottom on the 90-minute chart. Let's see what we got in Avalanche, if there's any such thing, right? So you got the 13 bottom in Avalanche too. Now, theoretically, downside risk is 13. But people got real bearish here. So, you know, and there's this idea that if you don't know what to do, don't do anything. It's just so tough, right? I don't want to tell you to get short ETH at 1,000. Why am I telling you to get short at support? No, you get short if it breaks support or if it comes back up again. And if there's an absence of negative news flow, or maybe Powell doesn't say anything negative about stable coins. I mean, shit, if he does that, it's all going lower. But if he just says, yeah, I'm going to leave crypto to the regulators, then people are going to be like, well, wait a minute. I'm short. I loved it at 3,000. I hate it at 1,000. And that's a recipe for a squeeze for like a day. Okay. So somebody was asking for Kusama. And again, it's really a shame about these interoperability plays that no one's talking about them. Okay, it really is. Web3 conference, no one talks about Polkadot. And on the Token Metrics Premium Customer webinar, we had Ian Bellina remind everybody that over 90% of Polkadot's overall supply is already out in the market. So if the market turned around and went up, there's no more Polkadot unlocks. So Kusama has been outperforming, okay? But you got to be careful because you got the 9 top here, right? Beware of anything that's outperforming. Now, who knows? Maybe this is the one coin market. Maybe Kusama is the thing that goes up when everything else is going down. But you know what, folks? That has not worked. That has not worked. So I don't know if you made money being long Kusama or you feel trapped and may want to get out, you know, maybe over the next 2 days, you get the candle to do that. But somebody says, what isn't dead? I was talking Polkadot. Okay. Somebody says ETH is chill right now. You know, again, like I said, you have to be careful of an absence of bad news. And you have to watch stonks, right? I mean, if stonks go up 3% and nobody goes out of business today. Okay, so crypto.com on a 4-hour chart, right? It's got support at 10 cents. If crypto.com turned around here, it would be constructive if it did. But again, with all this stuff, you have to be careful. The best support in crypto.com is 0.0145. Okay, but, you know, like I said, there was the 13 bottom. This was clearly the give up trade. Now you got shorts trying to press, right? But they may be late shorts. Okay. Crypto Crank is asking me if I'm a fan of Polkadot plays. Yeah, I'm a fan of Polkadot plays in late October. Okay. Is USDC safe? Good question. So if the Fed or regulators says we're done with stable coins, this is out of control, right? USDC is not safe. If regulators are saying we're in charge of the dollar, if I was the Fed chairman, that's what I'd be saying. I'm in charge of the dollar, not you. You don't get to make phony baloney dollars, period. The dollar is the dollar. I don't care what you're collateralized. I don't care if you're collateralized with dollars. Now, if they don't say that, USDC is fine. And of course, it would be funny that if everyone freaked out about USDC and turned around and says, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh, I'll buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? So you could get weird rally catalysts. All I can tell you about USDC is an old legacy motto. Cash is king. So today we've had 2 legacy mottos. Hedges are something little doggies pee on. So be careful about being bearish when everyone else is bearish. Just be careful. Not saying this market's not going to get wrecked starting after Father's Day, because that's what I am telling you. The question is, how do you manage the tactical short term? So hedges are something little doggies pee on, and cash is king. If you're asking me, is my money safe somewhere? You've already answered your own question. You've already answered it, right? Now, do you have like imminent risk of that? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. And that's the problem, right? That's what's toxic. And that's why these bear markets, these crashes, they get so difficult. They get impossibly difficult. Okay? All right. Matic, Ethereum, Bitcoin, in love with winter chill. These cryptos say have a cup of coffee. Okay. Okay. Brody says, I read the entire 1929 book last night. I'm starting to pick up what you're laying down. Looks pretty similar. Read the book. Okay. Let's go to comp. See what's going on in DeFi. Probably should check Aave too while we're at it. Okay, so comp, huge give up trade, 13 bottom, everyone gives up. Support is at 30. Okay. So, you know, comp's either going to puke out the 30 and bounce or not. This looks like a give up trade to me. It does. Now, should people be giving up in DeFi? Yeah. They should be exiting, right? Question is what happens in the short term. See, this scares me the most, right? This is Aave. This is the argument for no bounce, right? This is a 90-minute chart of Aave. There's nobody home until DeMark support point at 49. Now, if they hold it together, great. Great. But the support is far away. So, you know, you have to be kind of careful for that. Bangalore, India up late at night. Okay, Ronak is here. Okay, asking about... Ronak is here reminding you to hit the like button. Okay, thoughts on Coinbase? Excellent question. Okay, so let's talk about Coinbase. So Coinbase is a very strange beast, right? There's support in Coinbase at 36, but it can't seem to get there. Okay, so we'll do a little redraw on Coinbase, which actually probably looks like a better level than I came up with the first time. So support in Coinbase is at 50. All right. So this is Coinbase on a 4-hour chart. Now, I think the general consensus, okay, is that Coinbase will go out of business. Now, if that's the general consensus is always wrong. If people think the same thing, something else happens. First, we were talking about that when everyone was bullish, when every crypto Twitter moron was telling you Bitcoin was going to hold 30K. We faded that. Now, you know, Coinbase FUD is everywhere. I get it. Coinbase is going to have problems. It's not a question of if, but when. The question is it going to have problems right now? Right? In other words, if stonks go up, I don't know, if Coinbase holds 50, which is kind of a psychological point. So like ETH at 1025, right? I got a hard time being bearish Coinbase at 50. I do. If there's a problem with anything, it's MicroStrategy. But I have a tough time getting all super negative down here because everyone's super negative, right? Everyone's wearing a Fed, okay? Crypto Future says, I'm thinking the Fed and Powell buy Bitcoin. That'd be kind of funny. That would be kind of funny. Am I frozen? Am I still here? I'm still here. Okay, Huckleberry Native notes, 1929 possible. Okay, you did get relief rallies in 1929, by the way. There were up days. There weren't that many, right? One of the things about 1929 that was amazing was that there was so much volume at the exchanges that the people who worked at the exchanges could not go home. They could not go home. They slept in hotels in downtown New York. Okay, so what's up with KDA? All right, so KDA feels like no man's land. Okay, the 89-minute alligator is all tangled up, which means don't do a trade. Okay, resistance is at 171. Support is at 125 and nothing's happening. So shockingly, this looks neutral to me. Okay. Who said Coinbase is going out of business? Asks Steven. Nobody, but Coinbase had that thing in the fine print that said, you know, if we go under, whatever funds you leave on the exchange, they go to us and our creditors. So I don't know if Coinbase goes out of business. Everyone's talking about Coinbase blowing up. Again, there's no reason for that at the moment. I think the biggest problem with Coinbase is how it would function if everyone was selling in July or September. That's where you have to worry about Coinbase, not now. I mean, yeah, that trade has been done is what I'm saying. And there'd have to be a new negative event for this to continue lower. Okay. Mad Max says, I wish they had went higher on rates. The faster the market crashes, the faster we can reset and trend up. Okay, so let's talk about that. Now, why isn't Jerome Powell just raising rates like 100 basis points at a time and just wrecking everything? I mean, he knows he has to wreck it, but does he want to wreck it like right now? Or does he want to be perceived as the one that wrecks it? Probably not, because there's a blow up in legacy. Like we got the blow ups in crypto, right? There's something out there and there ain't no man. It ain't no man from Predator. Now we know what it is. You know, staked ETH, 3 Hours Capital. Now it's obvious, right? Well, it wasn't obvious before, and that's what was toxic. And you got the same problem in legacy. You got the exact same problem, right? You think crypto is the only industry with men behaving badly and like over leveraged problems? Oh, please. Right? So Jerome Powell wants to fight inflation. Jerome Powell wants to maintain whatever credibility they have. And he knows that equities are going to get wrecked, but he doesn't want to come out and do something crazy and get blamed for it getting wrecked. That's the game, right? He wants to do his job and hope equities get wrecked so inflation can finally stop, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take much higher oil, a geopolitical event, and a stock market crash, and the market will have done his job for him. But he doesn't want to come out and say, okay, I'm raising the Fed funds rate to 3% today because inflation's out of control, and then everything gets wrecked and it's his fault. He wants to just stay incremental. Okay. Okay. Somebody's asking, is The Great Crash of 1929 by John Kenneth Galbraith is the book? Okay. HNT is holding. Yes, it is. Let's bring up, let me see if I can just do a little token metrics here. Okay. Let's take a look at HNT and see what's going on there. Okay, so HNT is neutral, right? The token metrics grade was way up. Now it's kind of like in the middle of the range. Let's see what the visual trends indicator says. So helium has not gone green yet. I think if helium went green, you could be a little bit more constructive. But this is obviously holding up, right? This is obviously holding. Okay, no, I wanted the trading view chart. Oh, okay. So let's look at helium on trading view. You know, again, nice green candle. Okay, so people are definitely looking to buy the dip in helium, and who knows, there could be a one coin market out there. This could be it. Okay, I would be very careful with that in the short term. Like maybe they want to take it up. Maybe this is overdone. You know, maybe this is an A. Wait, I'll draw it. Okay, so maybe in helium, this is A, B, C. So maybe they got a rip in them. I don't know. We'll see. But what I do know is, like, when we go back over here and we say, all right, well, you know, what can we look at? I don't know. We can look at XCH maybe. Somebody wanted to look at this? Chia? Okay, so one of the value propositions of token metrics, and frankly, I think this is a huge value proposition, okay? And it may not be relevant for Chia, but I want to go to Avalanche in a second. Okay, so not relevant for Chia because I really can't chart this, but let's just take a minute and go to Avalanche because I thought this was really interesting when I looked at it earlier. So the big question is, okay, so this is June 15th. You're watching this video. You're like, all right, how do I figure out if the market goes down again? where my coin will stop, right? So Avalanche right now, I don't know. I don't know. It's trading at 16. Is that true? Okay. So Avalanche, right? The original buy point in Avalanche was 13. That's where our AI first picked it up on the most recent leg up. Now, if you look at the maximum history for Avalanche, right? The original buy point in Avalanche was $3.51. So if you have an absurd decline in any of these cryptos in, June, July, and then again in September or October, where does it stop? Okay. I think you go back to where it started from. And the only thing that you can see that no one else can see, because that's the only thing that works in this environment, people, trust me, right? Everyone looks at TradingView and goes, oh, that's support. And the market goes, okay, really? The only thing that's going to work, in my opinion, are going to be these AI-based levels where stuff just runs home to mama, right? So if you look at Cardano, and you're like, basically like, I'm a Cardano maximalist. Cardano's booth or lounge area at Consensus was packed, right? So Cardano, I think, has just as good a chance as everything else to make it. The question is, where do you buy it? Do you buy it now? Or do you buy it and go back to where it started? Like, where did it start in Cardano? It started at 10 cents. Now, I'm not hating on Cardano. I'm just saying the original BitBoy buy signal in Cardano was November 10th, 2020 at 10 cents. And if everything is going to go all the way up and all the way back down, because Bitcoin sure as hell is, right? Because the value proposition of Bitcoin has to be revalued. So if it happens to Bitcoin, where do you buy? Like, what's the downside target? Where are you going to get that from? Are you going to go through every single chart and try to like draw something when the market is like cascading lower with forced liquidation? It's going to go back where the AI found it at 10 cents. I mean, again, in a worst case scenario, not hating on Cardano. And since we got XRP people out there, let's just do XRP. So the question is, where can you see something about XRP that you can't see anywhere else? Right? Like, you can go to a YouTube channel, you can hear about XRP for hours. You can hear all about the legal story, and I get it. They're fighting the government. They were Consensus talking about it. I missed it, but they're fighting the government. Good for them. Good for them. Ripple Labs has got an amazing payment network. The demise of stable coins could be the rise of XRP. I'm not sure who's talking about that. Okay, so XRP's been flying back and forth, and it looks like the November 2020 buy signal in XRP was 26 cents. Right? That's where it was up, down. I mean, it's a little bit more convoluted. But if you go back to where the AI found anything in November of 2020, that was your answer. Okay. All right. All right. So somebody's giving me some love out there. John, I appreciate that. Okay. Crypto Elf said, I doubt it gets down there. I get it. Pat said he's frustrated with helium. He just got my miner and the mining is worthless. It happened to me. $1,200 for hotspots. I gave them away. Okay, so let's just check ETH here, see what's going on. So 89-minute chart. Okay, they tried to kill it and it didn't work. Everybody got short and it didn't work. Whoops, not sharing the right screen. So it didn't work. Okay. Now you got to be careful that this thing doesn't rip up, right? Because, you know, stonks came off. Gold is up. So there's PAX. Okay. I got a hard time not liking this. I mean, you know, I just got a hard time not liking this. You know, let them squeeze ETH, let them squeeze Bitcoin, right? Be long gold. And then when Bitcoin stops going up, just unload on that. Keep the gold and the short the Bitcoin. Okay. What about Matic? Okay. Three Musketeers say, some say Bitcoin will go down to 6K, maybe 3K. I personally think it's 6K minimum. That's like the minimum downside target. I personally think much worse. But today may not be the day to talk about that. I mean, it will be time to talk about that after Father's Day. Because, you know, they're going to squeeze everyone out and it's going to be terrible. Okay, so Matic had a bunch of support around 38 cents. They tried to take it below it, and so far it's not working. I mean, you just have to say to yourself, okay, you know, the people who loved it up here now hate it down here. All right. Now, I don't know where this can go. I really don't. And honestly, on the uptick, I don't care. I just don't want people to get short at bad levels and get squeezed. I would rather, you know, let it glide up, right? So here's ETH coming back hard, right? Again, when bear markets get vicious, right, people sell into a hole and then it rips in their face. Then they sell the first uptick, then that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Don't say, at this point, I would not be selling the first uptick. Throughout the whole market, it's paid to sell any uptick, and everybody knows that because hedges are something that little doggies pee on. So they'll sell the first uptick, and then it'll rip up to 1280. And then everybody go, everything is okay. The bottom's in, the Fed's over, everything's fine. And then 3 hours goes down. You know what I'm saying? So don't get confused. Don't get confused, right? Sell when it goes up hard, if you get that. So it may be a multi-day rally. We haven't seen that yet. We have not seen that, but they pounded on ETH at 1,000, and we had 3 different or 4 different indicators to say, don't get short ETH at 1,000. And if this thing does go up, it's Christmas to short Bitcoin. Christmas. Because Bitcoin is going to be at 10K by July at the earliest, by September at the latest. I have no idea how they're going to prevent a liquidation event in Bitcoin. So ETH might squeeze higher, but I'd be shocked if you saw Bitcoin materially above 22,500. Honestly. But you never know. If they want to take, let's just do the math in Bitcoin just while we're on here. Okay. So I guess we could do the fib retracement off this decline. So you could have Bitcoin at 22,100 or 23,300. Oh, God, that would kill people. But I can tell you right now, me, my little brother, right, and my nephews are going to be selling Bitcoin at 23,300. Because if it goes up there and fails, that's a game. That is a game, right? 22,100, 200, I wouldn't doubt it. But the real, you know, everyone's always talking about max pain. I really don't like max pain. I like navigation. Max pain is too emotional. Okay. You want to try to not be emotional. So just to put this on the chart for Bitcoin. So you got 22,100, right? And then you got 23,700. And then I guess if they want to just destroy everybody, God, can't even imagine this. 25,700 is the 62% retracement. Now, I'm just telling you right now, like anything in this zone, I'll tell you two things. You get Bitcoin in this zone between 22 and 25 if you get that. If you saw Bitcoin in there and you don't get out, I have a harder time, I have a hard time wondering what it is I would have to say, right? So if they jump it up in there, GTFO. Don't sell the first rally. Don't fade this, right? I mean, ETH is unchanged. We're talking about this. Don't sell ETH at 1,000, and now it's unchanged. Don't sell the first rally. Wait a couple days. Father's Day, have a happy Father's Day. I'm going to hope to have a happy Father's Day. But I know what's going to happen. I'm going to look at my phone and go, I don't know. They're either doing something stupid. They're taking it up to 25, or that's when they start dropping it. Okay? Because believe me, come the 20th, that's when they're really going to start dropping it. And I know everyone knows that. And they got short and they're going to get squeezed. And that's how crashes and bear markets work. That's how it worked in 08. Hedges are something little doggies pee on. Hedgers always sell the low. And they're always panicking and covering at the top because it's so emotional. Remember, they have a bad position, so they panic and they hedge it, and then they feel twice as bad when it goes against them, and then they panic and they cover. You don't want to be like that. You want to be okay. You want to be chill. All right? Managing your emotions is what this episode has been about. So that's it for the market update today. Okay? I'm your host, Bill Noble. One final note. If you want to navigate this bear market, if you want expert research, and you want to know what the downside target is for your coin, and you want to know what coins to buy when it bottoms, folks, if you're not listening to Token Metrics, who are you listening to? Seriously, who are you listening to? So we're here for you. I'll be here tomorrow. All right. Take care. Trade well. We'll see you soon.